Hey folks, Levi here once again. Welcome back to another review. Hope you enjoyed my review of Avengers Infinity War. That's on my channel right now if you want to check it out. Yeah, this is just my YouTube shirt with my name on it. Hope the lighting of the video is not too bad. I don't think it is. And the volume should be working. Okay, so you guys can hear me while I'm talking. Anyway guys, my YouTube channel. Remember, it's Levi McNally 983 with the mass profile picture. Now, I've been on YouTube for probably 11 years now. 13. Sorry. Well, this year should be actually probably 12. But anyway, you guys should definitely check it out. And definitely, well, if you're watching the video right now, thanks for checking out this video. I appreciate it. But thank you guys for the 238 subscribers. Keep on subscribing, guys. I do appreciate that. That does show the support. I really do appreciate it, folks. Uh, you can always share my channel too. If you're friends with me on Facebook and you're watching this video, you can share it on your, you don't have to share it on your Facebook page, but you can share it on your Facebook story if you feel free to do it, or your Instagram, whatever, you know, or, your Facebook group or whatever. If you want to share it on your Facebook page, I'd appreciate the like, I'd appreciate that. And thanks for support. It does help out. You can always share my videos. It's fine with me. I appreciate it. But remember, stay subscribed. With Leave It Nally 983, the Mask Profile Picture. Remember, stay on this channel. If you want to continue to see me do videos here on YouTube, this is the only channel you can watch. So, just giving you that heads up. Hope you guys can hear me. Yeah, there's somebody cutting grass outside, but it's probably a neighbor. Excuse me. But anyway, this is a sequel I'm talking about. The next three reviews, these should be sequels. Okay, yeah. The next three movies I'm going to be reviewing here for 2018. Remember, I've been doing 2000. I've been doing superhero marathon. What I've been doing is the 2000, what I call the 2010s era superhero reviews. These are superhero movies that came out in 2010, decades 2010 to 2019, and we're in the year 2018. And these next three movies, these are sequels. And the first one I'm talking about, this came out in May, and it's really starring Ryan Reynolds playing the character to the Marvel, the Mark with the Mouth again. It's a sequel to the 2016 film, and that is Deadpool 2. I love this movie. Was it completely perfect? No. I wouldn't say it's as good as the first. Well, I would say it's as good as the first. It does have problems though. Some issues I have. Despite that, though, this is still a fun sequel, especially Ryan Reynolds. And we have Cable here. Yes, yeah. I like that she plays Domino. Domino. She's very lucky. But this is a very entertaining sequel. Yeah, this was a fun sequel. Yeah, I remember when this came out in 2018. I remember really looking forward to it. I remember the posters and stuff, and yeah. But let me take this slipcover off. The film I have on Blu-ray and unrated cut. Yeah, both films are on Blu-ray, but the red one is the theatrical cut. This is the unrated cut. I need to watch the unrated cut. But yeah, good sequel. The thing is, it's like it doesn't even fit that long. It was, yeah, I think it was like 1 hour and 59 minutes of running time. Well, it says 2 hours, but didn't really feel that long. Not as long as Avengers: Infinity War, but that's fine. Different movie than that. But anyway, let's get into the production for the movie, shall we? Producer Simon Campbell revealed in September 2015 the discussions have begun regarding ideas for a sequel to Deadpool because the first Deadpool was a big hit. So of course, a sequel was going to happen, which was said to be released in February 2016. One idea for the film to introduce the character Cable, who had previously been looked at the appears in the first Deadpool and Days of Future Past before that. Cable's inclusion in the potential sequel was confirmed by the character Deadpool while breaking the fourth wall in the post-credit scene of the first film. Domino character with connections to Cable in the comics was also really featured in the sequel. For the first film's release, 20th Century Fox had greenlit a sequel with writers Ray Russ and Paul Wernick to return to write the script, to write a screenplay for the movie. Though director Tim Miller and producer star Ryan Reynolds were not confirmed for the sequel at the time, Fox intended on keeping the creative team together. Miller and Reynolds' involvement was confirmed at the 2016 CinemaCon that April. Though Miller had not formally signed on to direct the sequel, he began work development on the script, while Reynolds had signed a new contract, granting him casting approval and other creative controls. It had to tonally, producer Simon Kimber says, it has to tonally and stylistically be as fresh as and original as the first one. That's a big challenge, especially because they had 10 years to get on the first movie, and we didn't have that kind of time on the second movie. That's the biggest mandate. We have to resist the temptation to make it bigger. In June 2016, Kimberg expected the film to begin at the beginning of 2017. By August, Kyle Chandler was believed to be the running to portray Cable. After being mentioned in the post-credits scene, Dolph Lundgren expressed interest in playing the role. Dolph Lundgren, he's probably seen in The Punisher, and he's worked with Marvel too. He was Punisher in 1989. I don't care what business. I love that movie. And of course, Rocky IV playing Ivan Drago. I can see him as Cable. He took to social media to share created by concept of measuring created by poster artist Justin Paul. Testing actresses for Domino had also begun. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who was in Sky High, Mackenzie Davis, like about think about like 9 or 10 actresses. But the producers were interested in casting a black or Latino actress. Aubrey Plaza auditioned for the role. At the end of October, Miller left the film over creative differences with Reynolds. Partly based on several factors, Reynolds expanded creative control over the sequel. So, I mean, it makes sense that Ryan had more control because Deadpool was a hit, mainly because of him, because he did work hard for the movie to be rated R. You know, but I guess maybe him and Miller had some issues. I don't know. I wasn't there, but I guess they had some disagreements. Maybe it got bad. I don't know. Miller's wish for a more stylized fault than the first one versus Ryan's focus on the raunchy comedy style that earned the first movie's R rating. Miller's intention to cast Chandler as Cable, which Reynolds opposed. Fox admittedly backed Reynolds over Miller, who made his directorial debut with the first film. Miller denied this report, but Reynolds said he could only add that I'm sad to see him off the film. Tim's brilliant and nobody worked harder on Deadpool than he did. Miller's plans for the film included introducing the young mutant Rusty and a comic book portrayal of Cable. Having Vanessa embrace her copycat persona from the comics, featuring a fight between Juggernaut and the Thing, the latest member of the Fantastic Four, the studio had approved crossing the character over from the franchise before Miller's exit. A week after Miller's departure, Fox was looking at David Leitch, Drew Goddard, Mingus, Robert Sanders were potential replacements for the director. Leitch was the strong frontrunner for the role and signed on. Reynolds was a fan of Leitch's John Wick. Said the director really understands those Deadpool disabilities and where we need to take the franchise and can make a movie in the tight budget like if it was shot 15 times. For the writing, the first draft from Robert Warnwick and Reese were expected around June 2016. Multiple, multiple have been completed by June 2017. The pair left responsibility to explore the Team X Force, which does include Deadpool, Cable, and Domino in the comics, but to also keep the film focused on Deadpool. By the next month, the studio was still not happy with the script. Runners and the writers bunkered down trying to cross the finish line. It's a great everyone is excited to make. Goddard joined them as a consultant. Reese, Whitnick, and Reynolds was credited for the script. The three having split in the film scenes between them, passing them around to be rewritten by the others. Reese felt they were able to maintain one voice, his long history with the character during the development of the first film. Deadpool 2 is more or less for the first film ends. It focuses on a crisis and deeply personal cause for Deadpool. Leach felt retaining these personal stakes were more compelling for audiences than trying to build the film around global stakes. The writers felt that the sequel was totally similar to the first film, but wanted to explore a different theme by focusing on a group of individuals and their need for a family. Reynolds explained that the first movie is a love story masquerading as a comic book movie, and this one is kind of a family film masquerading as a comic book film again. Deadpool spends more around half of the film unmasked, which the writers wanted for exploring the more emotional scenes. The Reynolds was to do this because he found the makeup required to portray an unmasked Deadpool time consuming and really uncomfortable. So I guess he is comfortable wearing the mask because he did look like Freddy Krueger with it on, and so yeah, I bet that's a bit of a pain to wear. Who knows? Another idea was to have him film begin 5 years of the first and explore Deadpool being a father, but the writers quickly decided that this was never going to work. We wrote the idea to explore the character wanting to have a child but being unable to. Versions of the script included for the characters like Black Tom Cassidy, Flo, but they ultimately had a supporting role and a brief appearance. The villain Mr. X was also included in early drafts, but due to the number of villains already in the film. The immediate inmates of the icebox were going to be explored by more, having Cable break into the prison cause their power dampening pillars to malfunction. This was removed from the script due to its not being within the film's budget. I guess they didn't have time for that. Lynch fought or just didn't want to shove too much into one movie. More aspects of Cable's backstory in the film that the writers ignored it due to being convoluted. A painting of Cyclops would have acknowledged that the character's Cable's father was only cut. Cable is inflicted with, and his daughter Hope are decapitated. The film features connections to the films of the franchise. Littich announced confusingly but said that the issue had been discussing during development since the Deadpool films are considered their own entity in a way, and the character Deadpool allows them to be flexible with the timeline. Reese and Warnock preferred to use jokes in the film that only certain members of the audience would understand. Riddles were not allowed some to be used if thought not enough people would enjoy them. Following the announcement of the 20th Century Fox by Disney 2017, the film includes several Disney-related jokes, slightly running down by the Disney film Frozen. However, Fox didn't make the producers remove a joke from the fairly acknowledged deal, but Reynolds was a wise decision. Jokes including bizarre characters, interviewed to join the explore such as a fan idea to have Chris Evans respond his role as the Human Torch, which you didn't get that for Deadpool and Wolverine. Evans will ultimately respond to the role 6 years later in Deadpool and Wolverine. Told you. Pre-production. Recent Warner confirmed January 2017 that nostalgic teenage warhead, Colossus, and Karen Sony's doppelganger will be returned for the first film. At the beginning, Michael Shannon had been in the run to portray Cable. Michael Shannon, same actor who played General Zod, I think, and Man of Steel. David Harper also contended for the role. But he did go to work in Marvel, though. He did go play, what's that fucking character's name? I can't remember. In Black Widow. He was good in that movie, but that movie was disappointing. I didn't really care for Black Widow anyway. But anyway, here's Bronson was also considered for a role, considered, but that didn't happen. But he did play Doctor Fate in Black Adam, but that didn't happen until like 2022. So Shannon was in the running to portray Cable again later in the month. He's considered. Brad Pitt was also considered for the role, but it moved on. Well, he's in here, but he has a really invisible role. Yeah, we had a great meeting with Brad. He was really interested in recovery, thinking we didn't work out schedule. Rich and Taylor Johnson would later go on to collaborate in Let's Just Pull Up Brain. Bullet Train. Sorry. Monica Bernucci confirmed her return from the first film as Vanessa, her assistant pulling the character's copycat persona in the sequel. Jess Brolin emerged as a surprise contender to play Cable, although he was also busy at the time. He also portrays the Marvel Comics character Thanos in the MCU with Avengers Infinity War, which came out the same year, so Brolin was a busy man that year a bit. Also in April, Leslie Hugmans confirmed that she would be returning her role as Blind Owl. Fox gave the sequel a June 1st, 28 release date. Leach wanted to ensure the film a worthy summer movie. The film uses Deadpool as board while breaking two of the release period. Leach called these commitments finally fresh and timely when they were coming. Filming had begun by June 17, 2017, at the Hadley Castle in Victoria, British Columbia, which is portrayed the X-Men and X-Men films, and some in Vancouver. I guess whatever they can get a location at. Production of the X-Men film Dark Phoenix was taking place in Montreal, currently where the filming of Deadpool 2 was, which Ken Burns, of course, directed that film. We'll get to that movie when we get to the year 2019. Which was added to Deadpool 2 with the added green screen to allow those characters to appear in this film. The pair created specific shots and list plans for blocking out scenes before they arrived on set. Tell them about the colors they used. On August 14th, stuntwoman Josie J. Harris died in a motorcycle accident after losing control and crashing into Shaw Tower. Harris was working on the film as a stunt performer for the first time and had joined production a week before. Was not wearing a helmet because the character she was portraying, Domino, does not wear one. The scene in there had time since she joined the film to create one for her to fit underneath the Domino wig. She had 2 full days of rehearsing and stunt, as well as 5 more attempts on the day of the accident. Stunt double Melissa Stubbs had been unavailable and willing to do stunt, but the inexperienced Harrison would prefer to do her skin color being a match for the character. This decision was criticized by multiple stunt professionals, with many noting that Harris's experiences of racing did not qualify her as a stunt performer. Production was shut down immediately after the incident, but resumed 2 days later. I hate to say it, but they shouldn't have done it anyway. she's no experience in that. That's not really good to let her do something like. I'm sorry to laugh, but oh, wow, it's sad that somebody died though. I'm like, wow. And sometimes I'm sure it's happened in other movies. Not people die, but at least I'm sure they know what they're doing. But accidents do happen sometimes instead of movies. Oh, it was entitled Deadpool 2. Yeah, it was entitled the untitled Deadpool sequel. Sexual misconduct accusations against T.J. Miller, started from November, and by January 13th, they had called for Miller to be replaced in the film. Someone remembered how Kevin Spacey was replaced by Christopher Plummer. Yeah. Lord shut down addressed whether it would be possible, saying, "We're in the finding, I don't think so." Miller was later arrested for calling any false Plummer. Wow, what's wrong with that guy? Reynolds would not comment on either issue, but say that Miller would not be appearing in the X-Force film. Terry Crews was rumored to have a role in the film. The character Shadow Star was confirmed. Bill Skarsgård also had a role. Visual effects for the character's Colossus, trademark provided by Framestone. The Marvel Colossus was alerted from the first film to make him core, to make him more chiseled and angular, based on motion capture by, I think the actor who played him in the first movie. Juggernaut was represented by on set by 6 feet 8 inches stand-in, who wore a helmet. He wore a helmet to match the character's 9 feet 6 inches. Taylor Johnson was considered appearing in the movie. Well, he should have, even though he was in Avengers of Ultron. I hate the Kick-Ass movies, by the way. But of course, at least he went to go beyond Craven the Hunter. Couple years later, and that movie wasn't good. He should have been in this one instead. At least he would have been in a box office hit. I think I remember Deadpool in a commercial. Yeah. What's that guy? Bob Ross parodies. Oh, the Joy painting. Yeah, the guy that looks Deadpool pretends to be him. Yeah. And I think I remember Deadpool in a commercial or something. Super Bowl film. Yeah, okay. The Super Bowl probably had a trailer. And of course, you can say Deadpool, the character himself, is in jokes. In commercials, making jokes and being funny. Yeah. Oh, new Devour sandwich commercial. And Deadpool wet on wet teaser. Yeah. Can't show you the footage, but Deadpool on a pony. Yeah. Yeah. There you have Deadpool saying, "Eat me," on a Devour sandwich. That's cool. For the marketing, or for for the cast of the movie, Ryan Reynolds comes back as Wade Wilson Deadpool. He's a mark with the mouth. And again, this movie, by the way, is not for children. Deadpool 2, of course, is rated R. Deadpool's a mark with the mouth. There's blood and gore in here. There's violence. There's swearing, cussing. Yeah, yeah. this isn't a PG-13. This isn't meant for children. But Ryan Reynolds, uh, the first comic book movie he ever did, I think, was actually well, I know he was in movies just Friends with Amy Smart. That was a good movie where Reynolds had to wear a fat suit. Blake Trinity, which I think that movie sucks. Yeah. Maybe at the time he think he was gonna be part of the big times when he got into that movie. But in X Men Origins Wolverine, which sucked, and then of course playing Deadpool in 2016, Reynolds says he's been wanting to play the character since Blade Trinity. So yeah, Life, Under Six Underground, Free Guy, The Adam Project, which I have not seen. Josh Brolin's Cable, a time traveling cybernetic soldier. In many ways, the opposite of Deadpool. Though Deadpool's all jokey and jokes and making fun of people or telling jokes, Cable does not. Cable is like Deadpool. He's not a hero either. He's a cyborg, a cyborg kind of like the Winter Soldier, but he's a badass character. Yeah, Josh Brolin plays him pretty well. You should probably know Brolin for Goonies, which I think Goonies turns 40 this year in June. Yeah, but you know his first movie was The Goonies. Uh, he was in Hollow Man. He was good in that. Jonah Hex. Oh yeah, that was terrible. Jonah Hex. That was for DC. Yeah, he did that movie with Megan Fox and John Malkovich, and that film was terrible. Men in Black 3. He played the young Agent K. That was probably the first movie I saw him in. Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy. Thanos was uncredited, but he was Thanos for that movie, I believe. Avengers: Age of Ultron making a cameo as Thanos, and then of course this movie, Avengers: Infinity War was first though as Thanos, and coming back as Thanos one last time in Avengers Endgame. He just said that he's going to do a Running Man remake. I'm like, no, I don't want to see that. But Margot Barici as Vanessa Corlo, Wilson's fiance. Beautiful woman, by the way. She has three children. She's married to Ben McKenzie because he was her. I just remember her in Gotham as Liam Tomskin. In season, yeah. Oh, she voiced Black Canary in Justice League Unlimited. Okay, cool. I didn't know she worked with DC before then. She voiced Gideon in The Flash, but was uncredited. Yeah. And she was in all five seasons of Gotham. That's where she met her husband, Ben McKenzie, who played Jim Gordon. But she was, of course, in the first Deadpool movie. She voiced Talia al Ghul in Son of Batman and Batman Bad Blood, so she's worked with DC and now Marvel. So, but a very beautiful actress, in my opinion. And she's a good actress, too. Julian, D- Julian Denichin as Rusty Collins, Fire Fist. A minute with several abilities who's being hunted by Cable. This kid was in Godzilla vs. Kong. I was not really a big fan of this kid, to be honest. And I'm not talking about just his weight, but you know, in the movie. Sorry, bad joke. Mm, but yeah, as the character, is that as a bit as Domino, immersive with the ability to manipulate luck, and she was good. Let's see, I think I remember her. Was she in Joker? Yeah, yeah, okay, she was in Joker as Sophia, and came back as the character in 2024 sequel, Joker Felix Deluxe. I hate that damn title of that movie. It's called Joker 2 for God's sake. But I just remember her in Joker. You know. Well, you don't call it combat. It is a movie about a villain, though. T.J. Miller is Weasel Wilson's best friend, the owner of a bar, freed by mercenaries. Yeah. Never met the guy, but yeah. But I do remember him in the movie She's Out of My League. Big Hero 6, he did a voice. That's a superhero movie. That's for Disney though. And the first Deadpool was Weasel 2 and Deadpool 2. I guess he did not come. I guess he must have done it because apparently he didn't come back for Deadpool and Wolverine, which I like his character, Weasel. But I guess if he did some illegal stuff, yeah, he probably couldn't be on. Yeah, trust me. When you do, I think when people do illegal things, you're probably not going to be having much work. Yeah. And Brittany Hedberg comes back as a such teenage warhead. A teenage expanded with the immune power to detonate atomic burst from her body. She was in the first movie, of course. And she did come back in Deadpool and Wolverine. Jack Cassidy is like Tom Cassidy, a Munich facility. Seems like a good character, but they don't do much with him in here. Oh, I guess he's an enemy of Deadpool and the X-Men. Okay. Bender, Deadpool's armor and taxi driver. Somebody of his chauffeur. You do have cameos from James McCoy, Nicholas Hoult, Evan Peters, Ty Sheridan, and Alexander Ship, and Cody Smith Missy as Professor X. Coming back in the cameo as Professor X, Beast, Cyclops, Storm, Nightcrawler. There is footage of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, and that's footage of Wolverine, but that's it. He does not appear in this movie. He does not. He's not in this movie at all. But that's your cast and the film that people that worked on the movie. Directed by David Leitch. He's directed, well, produced John Wick. Yeah, he co-directed with Chad Stahelski. I can't say his name. Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Bullet Train, Hobbs and Shaw. I hate to look all this shit up. Sorry for passing. Yeah, and Brad Pitt does have a cameo though. Even though he didn't get a full part in this movie, he does have a cameo as Vanisher. That's when I say you don't. When I say you feel like he's invisible, like I was joking about earlier in the video. Anyway, screenplays by Zach Ost, based on Maria Pedal. Bullet Train, produced by Kelly McCormick, David Litch, and Nicola Fuqua. I'm sorry, I can't say your name right. I butchered their names. He directed movies like The Placement Killers, Tears of the Sun, where Bruce Willis Training Day with Ethan Hawke and Denzel Washington, The Magnificent Seven, which also starred Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt. Cinematography by Jonathan Silla, who's in cinematography for Dreamland, The Midnight Meat Train, A Good Day to Die Hard, John Wick, the first John Wick, Transformers Last Night, terrible movie, Hobbs and Shaw, Bullet Train, and The Fall Guy. Music is by Dominic Lewis. He's done music scores for films like Freebirds. I think I've seen that movie. I remember not being a fan of it. Peter Rabbit 2, Bullet Train, Violent Night, Lift, The Fall Guy, Karate Kid Legends. Upcoming film he will be doing that, is working on it. Production companies Columbia Pictures, A7 North Productions, distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing. It was released. I'm looking at the wrong movie. Sorry. I'm reading the damn it. I'm sorry. I was reading the damn wrong movie. Rita West, who also wrote scripts for movies like Dinosaur 2000. I worked on Disney, Monsters Inc. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong movie. G.I. Joe Retaliation, Deadpool 2, Six on the Ground, which also starred Reynolds and Deadpool and Wolverine. Paul Winnick, who's also wrote the first movie, Zombieland, and the second movie, and Deadpool and Wolverine. in Zombieland, Double Tap, and Six Underground, and Ghosted. And Ryan Reynolds himself writes the movie. Based on Deadpool by Feminist Nicks. Produced by Simon Kinberg, who has, yeah, he wrote the movie XX State of the Union and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, X Men Last Stand. Didn't really care for those movies too much. Jumper, I liked. Sherlock Holmes, Robert Downey Jr., that was good. X Men First Class, he was original that. I think that film sucks. This Means Ward, didn't care for that movie. Lose Him, never seen it. Days of Future Past, I love, but because he had Brian Singer to work with. Fantastic Four 2015 film, which I don't mind. The Martian, which I wasn't. Martian was alright. Deadpool, the first Deadpool, I love. X Men Apocalypse. X Men Apocalypse. No, I hate X Men Apocalypse. Logan, I love. Deadpool 2, I love. And he directed Dark Phoenix. Did he direct the New Mutants? Nope, but I guess he was a producer on it. And either way, it's Dark Phoenix and the Mutants. Those films. I haven't seen New Mutants, but I already know it's going to suck. Dark Phoenix, I know sucks. Lauren Showalter Donner, who is the wife of the late Richard Donner. Yeah. Richard Donner is the man who directed Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve. And the reason in that movie is the reason we get superhero movies today. Yeah. And her husband's also produced some of the X Men movies too. But she's produced movies like Free Willy, Freely to the Adventure Home, uh, X Men, the first X Men, X2, X Men Last Stand, X Men Origins Wolverine, X Men First Class, the Wolverine, X Men Days of Future Past, the first Deadpool, X Men Apocalypse, Logan, this movie, Dark Phoenix, and New Mutants, and Deadpool Wolverine. And it's executive produced on films like Free Willy 3, The Rescue, Volcano with Tommy Lee Jones, Assassins with Antonio Banderas and Sylvester Stallone. Oh, and Just Married. Let me see. Sorry. Oh, okay. The film that starred Ashton Kutcher and the late Brittany Murphy. Good movie. Yeah, Miss Brittany Murphy. She was a very good actress. Soundtracks by Jonathan Sela. Oh, maybe I was gonna. Well, we did do Bullet Train and Deadpool 2, and okay, I already talked about him. Edited by Derek Whiskey, Elizabeth Bertrand, I can't say this name, and Greg Albert, who was second assistant director on Toy Story 2 for the Birds, Monkey Bone, which, oh, Brendan Fraser, I like that movie. Austin Powers and Gold Member, the first Hulk, Annalise Hulk, the 40-year-old version with Steve Carell, Ted Nice, the bullet of Ricky Bobby, um, John C. Reilly, and Will Ferrell. Knocked Up, Sean, yeah, Knocked Up. Did I say Sean? No, not Sean. It's fucking Seth Rogen. Yes Man with Jim Carrey. Yogi Bear, which I've never seen. The Sitter, The Campaign, The Boss, Deadpool 2, Doolittle, which I heard was not very good. Instead of Marvel, but DC, The Suicide Squad, working with James Gunn, and Blue Beetle, and the new Superman movie he's working on with James Gunn. Music's by Tyler Bates. Make sure I'm looking on the right movie now. Whose World Was That Sound Like Dawn of the Dead, 300, Sucker Punch, Halloween 1 and 2. I'm guessing the Rob Zombie ones. It was released May 18th, 2018 here in the US. It's 119 minutes long, about 2 hours, like I said. Budget was $110 million. The box office made $785.9 million worldwide, so it was a hit. It premiered at the Leicester Square in London on May 10, 2018. It was released in the United States on May 18th by 20th Century Fox. It outgrossed its predecessor, becoming the ninth highest grossing film of 2018. The highest grossing film in the X-Men series, the highest grossing rated R film of all time. It got positive reviews from critics, with some considering it superior to the first film, considering its first film and praising the humor, cast performances, story, and action sequences, while others criticized its tone, script, and recycled jokes. I thought they were told new jokes. There wasn't recycled jokes in here. There was once a down upon a Deadpool, a PG-13 rated version of the film. Yeah, See what that got mixed. You don't PG-13 Deadpool, no matter what version you're making of him. Yeah, but Deadpool and Wolverine, starring Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, it got to be part of the MCU. As part of Phase 5 of Marvel. All right. And there will be spoilers in this review, by the way, guys. So if you've never seen Deadpool 2, don't watch this review. I don't want you spoiling for yourself. So I wanted there are spoilers in this review for Deadpool 2, yes. I'll say it before I talk about the movie, but give you a plot synopsis of what the movie is about. As Deadpool 2, it does take place, I think, maybe a year after the first movie, something like that. But basically, it's about wisecracking mercenary, the Merc with a Mouth, Deadpool, meets Russell, an angry teenage mutant. After something personal happens to him, he has a personal loss, and this affects Wade really bad. But because of this, he meets Russell, who's an angry teenage mutant who lives at an orphanage. But this orphanage, they torture children who are mutants, tortures them, and Russell becomes the target of Cable. Cable, played by Josh Brolin here, he's a genetically enhanced soldier for the future. Deadpool realizes that he'll need some help saving the boy from such a superior enemy. So he soon joins forces with Bedlam, Shatter, Domino here, and other powerful mutants to protect young Russell and save him from Cable and his advanced weaponry. So he must stop Cable and defeat him. And there will be spoilers in this review. That's just the plot synopsis I'm giving you. You know, that's just what the movie's about. And maybe I'll wish some quotes from the movie too. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about the movie itself. I'm gonna talk about Deadpool 2. Remember, there are going to be spoilers in this review. Spoilers in the review. You've been warned, so I don't want to hear anybody complaining. You, I just spoiled it. Read the description box below. Anytime you click on my videos, well, guys, also make sure to click on the bell for my channel. Click on the bell, and it'll tell you when I do my videos and stuff. Yeah, what reviews is coming up next. Yeah, we just remember always read the description box below. So always stay tuned for my community post. That's what I just call it. Yeah. So again, there'll be spoilers for this review, so don't be too upset. Yeah. But anyway, guys. So basically, okay, it takes 2 years after the events of the first film, where you have Wade Wilson, you have Deadpool. It opens up with Deadpool. He's become a mercenary who works the worldwide after defeating Francis, and he's with Vanessa now. Of course, because they were kissing after the first movie when they were kissing. They're together now. They're in a relationship. They of course still live together. And he became big as Deadpool. He works as a mercenary. He does dirty work, killing a bunch of criminals. Like that's what Deadpool does. He kills. Like I said, he's an anti-hero. Not a hero, but full-on villain who will kill. Deadpool was the guy. He's speaking in Spanish. He's trying to speak Spanish. He's like, I don't speak Spanish, but bye, motherfucker, I do speak some Spanish. Deadpool comes down, hits the guy, stabs the guy's head off. He says, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, and starts shooting at him. And of course, Deadpool runs away at first, says, girl, don't you smell? No. And he comes out with his sword, starts chopping people. He goes like this Japanese bait house and starts, he's like, oh, he cut my eye. Oh, up and busts down his from a guy's balls and is like, oh gosh, that the towel his balls were on. And Deadpool wipes him out. And Deadpool chases this one guy trying to run. He's like, hey man, get back here so we can kill this mother. But Deadpool shoots on that. And Deadpool's like, really, really? You got a safe room? Well, you can't stay there forever. Come on, man. Gotta be home soon. Deadpool just leaves him though, and all these guys chase him. Another the army, and this is where it's spoofing. They do. I'm sure with the Deadpool 2, they Eddie quotes references when he's running. Like, remember when Indiana Jones was racing from when Belloc sends the Indians to chase him down with their spears to kill him, and he's like, Jack, start the plane. When he's like, nobody, start the fucking plane, start the fucking car. Jumps in. He's like, oof, I almost causes wreck. He's like, I said, Deadpool, I want to be like you. I want to be an assassin. What? No, let's forget we talked about this. No, you don't need to be an assassin. That's not you. I also like the scene where there's Dolly Parton song going on, and Deadpool's dressed up as a stripper and kills him. Yeah. And again, he's a mark with a mouth. That does cuss and swear, and is no hero, and will hesitate to cut your balls off, pretty much. Then Deadpool returns to Vanessa. This over there. She's like, kiss me like you miss me, Red, and they kiss. Yeah, and they tell her she is able to tell jokes with weight as well. Of course, Stacy's a massive sorry. I had to kill some bad people that were after me. Excuse me. Damn pizza. But anyway, they just she's like, she's got like a baby pump or whatever. Well, not a baby pump, but a ball token, a reference to the first date, because they're gonna try to get pregnant. They want to start a family. It's like before we do this, before we pump a baby, let's watch a movie, listen to a lady sing. I know the actress, seen her before, and she was in Meet the Fuckers as Ben Stiller's mother. Yeah. But then this drug lord comes back, attacks Wade at his home. In the process, he can still Vanessa Hyde. Deadpool's able to kill these people by, because he can tell they're coming. When they're talking about what their name, they're saying, we want to name the baby Sheriff or Sonny. He's a, if it's a boy or girl, I'll be delighted either way. But as she's talking, Deadpool's like cooking something in the microwave. Wade hears these people coming, fights them with a pan. The drug lord shows up. Deadpool tries to put the knife in him, but his bullet goes at Vanessa, kills Vanessa, and Deadpool gets mad, jumps at that window, chases the guy down, gets knocked down a little bit. But being Deadpool, he can get hit by a car and take it. Yeah. Grabs the guy. Yeah. Although you say he's trying to die with the drug lord, he just doesn't kill him, but waits across, just hugs him and then jumps up to the truck, killing him. And then it happens at the beginning where Deadpool is, you see one of them, you know, his mask on top, he sees Malky smoking. He's like, Deadpool had to go and freaking die. I mean, Wolverine, when you have Wolverine down, of course, last movie. And it's also an X-Men, part of the X-Men film series, too. It's the 11th film, I believe, too. Sorry. Forgot to mention that earlier. So 6 weeks later, he starts to kill himself by blowing him up in his apartment. He's got these barrels. Deadpool just, fuck it, let's try to blow himself up. It doesn't work, of course. He has a vision of Vanessa in the afterlife. She said that you can't come in here because your heart's not in the right place, leaving him confused. Colossus shows up and is like, wait, this is not going to happen to you. He's like, I'm sorry what happened to him. He's got like him in a body bag nearly. Because there's just parts of him rolling around. Back to the X-Men, Xavier mentioned. But then we meet Cable, who's a 7 mutant in the future. Josh Brolin, standing over his family that has been killed. He travels to the past to get revenge on the killer. I guess he's like in what 2045 probably. I'm guessing in this future. But then when he goes back to 2018, when he does, he has like this watch. He's like, you know. But the thing is, when X Men, you know, Wade messes around with, Xavier's wheelchair. He's like, I did not hit that before. He's like, I'm having a hard time, and I can't live without her. He's like, you just have to let her go. What you need is family and friends. Friends are there for each other, and he hugs him, grabs his ass too, which I thought was funny. But eventually, Wade agrees to do it. He's messing with the Cerebro, which Xavier uses. You also have the cameo like by James McCoy. The cameo's fine. It was funny. It's just better than their Dark Phoenix movie. I'll tell you what. Yeah. That cameo was funny. That cameo was the only thing that was good about this X Men than their actual X Men Dark Phoenix movie, which came out the year next, I believe. Yeah, 2019 came out. But anyway, so he agrees to it. He's like, "Beat the X Jet in 5 minutes." You know. So eventually he goes there with nostalgia, teenage warhead, and Colossus, involving a mutant named Russell, calls himself Fire Fist. Being able to reach high temperatures from his fist of fire. He's like, "Leave me alone. You wanna get burned? I'll kill you." You know. And Russell was, I thought, was an annoying character too. You know, just his accent I thought was irritating. But I did think it was funny though when they said, "Colossus, come quietly, or there will be trouble." I was like, you ripped that off from RoboCop. He's an X Men, X Men training. Yeah, and where he's got his X Men trainee X T-shirt right there. Yeah, and Deadpool's trying to talk to him. Just calm down, we can talk. And what happens with Russell? They keep saying, nostalgia teenage warhead. She says something. Oh, she's got a girlfriend, by the way, because the actress is a gay in real life. Okay, fine, but of course she says her girlfriend, as in girlfriend. Yes. Oh, they had to put that in here. I'm like, really? But she's a funny character. Mimi, I think her name was. I don't know. Was it me? I don't freaking remember. Miming, I think Mimi. And he gets, he says hi to her. Deadpool's like, hi, Mimi. But he tries to talk to Russell. Russell doesn't listen. Russell uses fire attacks on Colosso and Teenage Warhead, and eventually Deadpool's like, that's it. And he's like, stay in school, kid. He signs something, and on the cereal box, it's a Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. He jumps down, he's like, the superhero jumps like, oh, oh, freaking hurt my legs. I'm sorry, excuse me. If I burp, excuse me. I only did it because I ate pizza earlier, so anyway, they do, Deadpool throws his knife at him. Doesn't kill him, but the end of the blade hits him in the head, knocks him out. And he's like, okay, good job. And he's like, wait, did they do this to you? And then the guy that leads their teachers, the doctors, nurses, or whatever, said, we got it here. And he shows that the headmaster over just they've been abusing him, and ends up, and he's like, wow, really? Sometimes you just gotta fight dirty. And Deadpool's saying this the wrong way, that they're pedophiles here. Get Griffith's gun out, shoots one guy in the head. Colossus attacks him, and he ends up going to jail. They go what you call the icebox. They put these collars on them, which retain their powers. And this is when Wade's cancer starts to come back. If you remember when he became Deadpool, he had cancer real bad. He had this real terrible cancer, and the cancer comes back once they put the collar on him. Yeah. Uh, Cable arrives in the timeline, almost like the Terminator way, but not naked or anything. But he comes up to these two guys, telling them, what year is it? And they say, what? Who's this crazy mother guy? I'm like, who's this crazy guy? And he like shoots them with something, knocks them out, steals their truck, and he takes their beer too. But they go to the icebox, an isolated mutant prison that houses dozen mutant criminals, including Black Tom Cassidy, wearing the same collars. Uh, that same night, though, well, you know, him and Wade talk. He's like, fuck being a superhero, and then he says, well, fuck everyone. Well, I'm gonna get revenge again. He's like, well, kid, I'm gonna die, and the only thing Wade cares about at this point, he's like, look, kid, we're not friends. Don't talk to me. And he says, I just want to die, and he's again dying from the cancer that comes back. He's like, well, my pain is the cancer. and he's eating his food like Tom Clancy tries to mess with him. And Russell thinks that he can find the biggest man to be his friend because Russell like, stop winking at me. You know, so it's all like the friends. He's like, you find the biggest man, you make him your bitch, and then he gets punched. Look, gets punched right, knocked out. They beat Deadpool up eventually. They beat Wade up, and that night in the hotel, Cable uses his eyes advanced scanning, capable to scan his many weapons and pick up the perfect pieces. But he needs to be a better gun. He makes a futuristic rifle, which is really cool. It's got like a grenade blast on it too, I believe. Uh, and he's like, I didn't mean kids. Like, we're not friends. I'm not your friend. But then eventually, you know, eventually the facility is broken into by Cable. Uh, Cable was looking for Russell. He fights with some of the cops, and I like how he fights. So he breaks some of their arms, grabs one guy, like twists him around, shoots one guy in the head, and breaks. I mean, he's breaking arms. Like I said, he's killing these cops. He does not care. He's dishing, shooting at them. He tries to blow up their cell. Wade realizes that they're probably after them. He's probably after them. He's like, what? Winter Soldier look guy trying to do? Eventually confronts them. He doesn't want to kill Deadpool. No, he says, I wrestle. I wrestle, and he tries to shoot at him. And him and Deadpool fight. I was like, this ain't your business. Stay out of it. He's pushed Deadpool a couple times, get a bit of a beating on him because Deadpool is got the collar on. He's like, what kind of a sick fuck tries to kill a child? He's like, he's like, that's not your business, and they fight. Eventually, when they fall over the rails or something, or one of the bridges over the, well, fall on a table, the collar comes off, and Deadpool's like, hello, Powers. Deadpool's able to beat him, point a gun at him, was like, who are you? What are you doing here? And I really have a bad reputation for not asking again twice for shooting, so you better tell me. And of course, Cable says, name's Cable. You know, I'm from the future. Yeah, yeah, John Connor. And he's like, and they fight more a bit. It's a badass fight though. But eventually, Deadpool manages to throw himself a Cable out of the prison. They get exploded out of it, basically out of this wall, while Russell stays in there. Deadpool has another vision of Vanessa, who helps him realize that he has a chance to save the boy that she needs to help and redeem himself for not being able to save Vanessa. Sees that it was his fault that Wade feels very guilty about because he let the bad guys there, but he couldn't save her, so he can save and help Russell out. But after being in prison, Cable I guess goes to regenerate himself. Deadpool gets out of the pool, out of the ice water, goes back to the bar where Doug Payne is working, and T.J. Miller's like yelling at him, like, do you have the courage to clean up the sanitary water? No, I'm kidding. And he's like, we need a team, you know. Yeah. And I do like it stuff when they do mention something like I said Frozen when Wade's at the bar, it's like, do you want to build a snowman? They get a team of Domino, this character right here, Domino, and Terry Crews is on there too. Venom, Shatter, Tiltergeist, Fan Sister, and Peter. Peter's a normal human, looks like a car salesman or an insurance salesman. He just said, I saw that and I went there, like, well, you're in, Peter. He's like, okay, people. He tells them the plan. There's a prison in the prison to Russell to a new site, but Russell has already talked to Juggernaut, that's the big guy in the prison. He gives him food, asks him for help. He's like, we could be friends because he wants to get out, and Russell wants to use his fire powers to kill the headmaster and to kill everybody in that store. I mean, in the facility, in the hospital that he stays in, to fight Cable. And of course, Cable is sneaking around and is able to tie TJ Weasel down and questions him, and Weasel still scared to death. He just flushes it out real fast. He's like, death, being a soldier is real hard. And he scares him enough to make him say, yeah, they're going to, Deadpool's got a team, they're going for the convoy reversals, and it happens. They all start on a prison truck, transporting the prisoners. Deadpool's like, okay, team, come on, we're doing this. Yeah, we're a team. Yeah, we're a team. You know, Deadpool yells at Peter's like, I'm not yelling at you, just with the others. He's like, we are the X-Force. You've been called by a greater hard. Did he just refer to himself as God? Yeah, he did. Uh, Terry Crews ends up hitting himself in the face. Not in the face, but ends up running into a bus, dying. Shatterstar, who is the smartest thing that he's better than everybody, ends up on the helicopter blades. Yeah, ends up he falls on helicopter blades because the wind's blowing. Uh, Invisible Man, Vanisher, who's Brad Pitt, gets shot to death on power lines, and Bedlam, I guess you can say, is the guy who coughs up blood. Bill Segar's character, who has this vomit. Peter tries to help him because he ends up in this wood chipper. He dies, but he vomits on Peter, and Peter dies. But Domino, who's lucky, gets to the convoy. She gets in there, she kicks some of the guards' ass, and is able to drive the convoy. Abel's on his way, and Deadpool has to ride a bike. He's like, man, oh, man, oh, my mouth. And he gets on the bike, goes to his bike, moped, or, yeah, there's a moped or whatever. She fights with Cable a little bit too, but Deadpool, she has to push him back out of luck. Cable ends up in another car, but Cable jumps back in to the convoy truck. So does Deadpool. He's like, oh, I ain't got it. But Deadpool, kills this cop. He shoots the other thing. Deadpool grabs it, shoots a bullet on him, taps his foot, jumps on there, and him and Cable fight. And he's like, come on, give me your best shot. He's about to shoot him in Deadpool. So I thought it was cool with the swords. He was like, you're real fast, you know. And they're fighting more badass fight. And they kill Black Tom Cassidy because as they're fighting, he's got the gun on. Cable's got the gun in Deadpool's face. Deadpool's gonna move it, and he shoots two guys in the head. He pushes two of them out, just to get Deadpool out of the way. But eventually, the truck gets into a wreck because Russell gets out. He's got like this pin to get him out, and he gets Juggernaut out, and Juggernaut punches it in the end of the truck. They crash. Deadpool's head is backwards. He has to regenerate his head. He's like, Russell, let me help you. He's like, it's too late, Wade. He said we're not friends, so we're not. So I'm going to go kill that headmaster. And he's like, tell me from like, he's like, yeah, you can't walk. You ain't got no legs. Because Juggernaut grabs like, Juggernaut, I'm a big fan. Well, the X-Men comics, so I've been a fan of this since the 60s or whatever. He even mentions about why they get X-Men comics movies maybe because about racism. Am I right, brother? Racism. Yeah. It did have to deal with that when Stanley came out with it. What was going on in the 60s and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so he rips Deadpool apart. Deadpool was able to come back together. Cable decides that he's need to join up with him. Team up with Deadpool realizes that Juggernaut is free, that they agree to stop Russell from killing the abusive headmaster. And at that sends Russell down a path to kill the family. Well, first of all, he's sitting down. He's doing his basic instincts. Sitting down, and Cable tells him about his wife, putting chapstick on. He's like, are you going to kiss me or something? He's like, no. But my wife had a sense of humor blocking her pain or something, or hidden pain. But he also says that in the future his family was killed, that Russell murdered his family, becomes like a murderer in the future, that they need to help him. He's like, all right, I'll give you 30 seconds. Still shakes his hand. But if he does it, you can't change him. And he tries to kill these people, I'm going to shoot him. Yeah. And they drive off in a truck, but they need the help of Colossus and Teenage Warhead. Yeah. And Deadpool, he's annoying the car. And Cable's like, You in the future, you're dead, Deadpool, but you ain't nothing. You'll just be remembered as annoying, as an as annoying Big Mouth who dresses up like a sex toy. You know, it's like, yeah, he just know how to ruin the moment for everything. But then if you've seen that movie Say Anything with John Cusack, he's got the music playing, but Colossus doesn't listen. His, his teenage warhead, and then sees Ming Ming. He's like, "Hi, Ming Ming." I was like, "Well, okay, nothing gonna happen here. So let me in the car. Let me in the car." Deadpool, Cable, Domino arrive at the orphanage to stop Russell. Oh, you're forgetting by meaning the Indian man guy. Yeah, tries to fight you. He was like, "I'll go fight Mr. Deadpool," but as they're trying to stop Russell, Russell chases the headmaster, and he's like, "And the wicked should burn." He's like, "What's my name? Fire Fist." "What's my name? Fire Fist." And they try to fight Juggernaut, but Juggernaut's way too big for him. He even tries to use it. You reference the Black Widow, the Marvel, with the Hulk and Marvel. He's like, the Juggernaut, sun's coming up, big guy. He's like, oh, that all really works in that. But he knocks Cable out. Cable puts up a decent fight. He's able to even use his gun on him. But Colossus shows up, and Deadpool's like, he picks up Deadpool, and Deadpool's like, yeah. But it works. You know, Colossus and Juggernaut are here to fight, and, Deadpool says, awesome big CGI fight coming soon, and they do fight, which is cool. And Colossus plays dirty by like stabbing him. Like, I'm fighting dirty. Deadpool, his suit is all messed up from nearly getting halfway blown up by Russell. Yeah, his suit's very good right here after getting blown up. It's all grayish and stuff. But him, Deadpool, and Cable, they fight the pedophiles. I guess you could say the nurses are pedophiles. They have guns and try to use weapons on them, but Cable and them kick their ass. Yeah, Russell comes out of the house. Deadpool tries to mention reach Russell before he gets a chance to kill him. He puts on the call that, they can hold his fire, offer himself in the headmaster's place. Cable takes a shot though, but he's like, I won't stop you. But Cable takes a shot and Deadpool jumps in the way. Then you get that song Tomorrow playing from Annie, and that was funny. Deadpool gets shot. Headmaster runs away. I said, "Why'd you do it?" He's like, "Cause I had to have the heart to do it and stuff." He's like, "I care about your wrestler. You're my friend. You are my friend. Or you're better than this. You're not a killer." You know. And he's like, he's dying. He's like, takes his mask off. He's like, I'm dying. And like, cancer finally gets to me. You want to build a snowman? He's like, okay, everybody. I just want to say bye, goodbye, Cable. Nice knowing you. Bye, everybody. You know, hi, Ming Ming. Yeah, yeah. Russell's crying. Why'd you have to die? He had to send a long death scene where Deadpool, of course, Deadpool runs. He's a murderer with a mouth who also never shuts up. But Deadpool runs his mouth. He doesn't die. Well, he does die, but Vanessa tells him, it's not your time yet. He goes like through this, kind of like this. It's like dark water and light water, but when he comes to light water, he goes back to looking like what he was before it became Deadpool. And he sees he saves Cable's family in the future, evidenced by the taper Cable is being carried out, returned to normal. Though she must tell him that it's not yet his time. Feels remorseful, so Cable travels back in time because he does appreciate what Deadpool did for him, so he travels back in time for the fight and discreetly places his skee ball token he had previously over his heart. And you have another fight, and just fast forward through it. And he's like, "Wait, you've been shot." Wait, he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, you shot motherfucker, you saved me." And Deadpool tries to hug him. He puts a knife to his dick. And he's like, "It's a knife in your dick, yeah. Go away." Okay, hey buddy, calm down. They all walk away. The headmaster says, "You all be guilty, you mean it, freaks?" He's like they one time was like, he's like, "No, don't do it. Karma, karma." I'm gonna get him. Eventually, doppelganger, Indian man, his chauffeur runs him over and kills the headmaster. They're like, calm him, motherfucker. Like, no, like, tell them, you know, yeah. And then Deadpool and Screwball, they become a family. It's a, Deadpool 2 is a family film. As the first movie was, romance movie, this is a family film about Deadpool trying to find his family. He found it in Doppelganger, Cable, and I do miss that Cable was in the third movie. But I guess Josh Brolin was just too busy, or just didn't want to do comic book movies anymore. I don't know, or just wants to do other films. Anyway, Teenage Warhead and her girlfriend Yoki. Okay, not Ming Ming, Yoki. I'm sorry, Yoki. Repair Gable's time traveling device. Allows him to perform several tasks. He saves Vanessa. He stabbed the drug lord in the head, and Peter from their deaths. He's using an alternative version of Deadpool in an effort to fix the timeline, which I liked. Bam, bam, yeah. I hated that Deadpool. And he shoots Ryan Reynolds and he reads the script for Green Lantern film. Not really. I know Ryan Reynolds, but Ryan Reynolds, you know what? You should have did it for Blade Trinity. I'm sorry, you weren't good in Blade Trinity. You sucked in that movie. I mean, he had one funny line in that movie, but Blade Trinity is all. Yeah, I hate that movie, and I'd rather watch Green Lantern over that. Green Lantern's not a perfect movie, but I don't think it's worse. Blade Trinity X Men vs. Wolverine to me is his worst superhero movies. But I don't blame him for shooting that Deadpool though. That Weapon X, whatever that was not Deadpool. Yes, I was happy when he just shot him and shot Deadpool. Pow 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 pow. Like good. Yeah, and then the movie ends there. Yeah, and that's Deadpool 2. All right, let me give my before I give my final thoughts on the movie. Read some quotes. Fuck Wolverine. First he rides my cocktails while they are raiding, then the hairy motherfucker ends up anti by dying. What a dick. Well, guess what, Wolfie? I'm dying in this one too. I know what you're thinking. I'm so glad I left the kiddos at home. But that's where you'd be wrong. The babysitter of yours is not high as fuck right now. And believe it or not, Deadpool 2 is a family film. True story. Every good family film starts with a vicious murder. Bambi, The Lion King, Saw 7. Holy shit, Pickles, that guy's on fire. That's not CGI, folks. He's really on fire, yeah. Is it just me, or do you want to build a snowman from Frozen Sound? So it's like, Papa, can you hear me? From Yenti. And nobody fucking realizes it. As the white man on the wall should have brought my rape whistle. Nobody knows, but rumor has it that they keep a monster in the basement, right next to a huge stream of hot bowl of foreshadowing. What am I supposed to do right here anyway? Sit in a share server and talk about my feelings? How would I do that exactly? Cause where the heck is everyone? I've always used teenage longest name ever. What the fuck? You think the studio would throw us a bone? One that doesn't enter my mouth. The first movie made more money than the guy who invented pants, but they can't just dust off one of the famous X-Men. How's about the putz with the giant pigeon wings? Referring to Angel, I guess. What do those do anyway, huh? Carrying him 3 feet off the ground to Natch. No, 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 no. We're not partners or friends. That doesn't end with us fighting the sunset. It ends with me dying of cancer and you winning the icebox. And that's where Christopher's mouth. There's only one person in that world they care about, and she's gone. You want to survive. Stop trying to shank the biggest guy in here and make friends with him. Make friends with someone. Anyone but me. Maybe even Black Tim. Like Evan. I don't know. All members, he's African American. You're so dark. When he fights Cable for the first time, he's like, you're so dark. You sure you're not from the DC universe? I love dubstep. In every film, there's a moment when hero rock bottom. Heroes hit rock bottom. Yeah, and he does really hit rock bottom. In Cool Runnings, it was when John Candy's prize bobsled broke. In Human Centipede, it was when those people signed up to do that movie. But in this film, we're looking at it rock meat bottom. Good news and bad news. Bad news is the whole team is dead. The good news is I don't think anyone's gonna miss Shatterstar. He was a bit of a prick. Seriously, I don't get it. What do you shoot love lasers out of your eyes? It's just hard to picture you something on every cinematic. I mean, look, what cooked out class sucking freak show comic book artist named that little chestnut? You killed my Black Adam. You racist son of a bitch. And he's like, I'm not racist. And according to the myth, this did not go according to plan. Also, be the first time the plan was written in canon. Was that Russell? Found a new friend. Turns out Domino was a bit of a badass and maybe quite. Sure. Hello, Russell. I guess Doomster never dies. His device is through time. The longer I travel, the harder I control. I get two charges on one to get me here and one to get me home. You remind me of my wife. She always troubled, but she was funny, a flitter of pain through the prison of humor. Something I could never master. He came into my home and said the thing that made me home. Sound familiar? When is this over? I'm gonna fuck you to death when you're on broken feet. Kiss me like you miss me, Rick. I listen to the pain. It's both the history teacher and a fortune teller. Pain teaches us who we are. Wait, sometimes it's so bad we're so dying. When he sneaks in there he tries to sneak. She scares him. You know, let's fuck up shit up is my legal middle name. Sugar says, "Very good, little fella. Go on, you're doing it. My beautiful hairless twizzler leg baby boy." When he goes to Lionel's room, her apartment, to sneak in some weed. I mean, not weed, but cocaine. Put it in his mask and blow it in there. I want to become a contact killer. I'm sorry, what did you say? Remember when I kidnapped Bandu and threatened him with aquatic blood? You kind of killed him. And then remember that fire with the interview with the vampire? Don't want to. When Tom Cruise read 10-year-old Kristen Dunst's blood for the first time, and she looked up at his smooth, handsome face and said, I want some more. Oh, cool, picture me. It's 10-year-old Kristen Dunst. I'll never picture that. But I can never speak of this as soon as possible. Alright, we're 1 hour and 11 minutes in, so I think I'm pretty much done here. You're welcome, Canada. Anyway, let me get my final thoughts on Deadpool 2. I I enjoyed this movie. Deadpool 2 was a good movie. This was a very entertaining sequel. I like how the story plays out. It does feel like a family film, but it's still a bit of a parody. Deadpool does break the fourth wall. This character does this. He knows he's a comic book character. And yeah, they did Deadpool the right way. You know, like I said, Ryan Reynolds just, yeah, this is the reason you got this. And if you love Deadpool Wolverine, I watched that movie recently and I enjoyed it. And I love the first movie and this movie too. We got this because Ryan Reynolds worked hard and the writers and the producers, directors, and Ryan Reynolds does have creative control because he knows how to do the character right. And before I get to any issues, though, I do think the film has a good story. I like that Deadpool, that he loses Vanessa, she dies, and that I like how they bring Cable into the mix. Cable was a badass villain, becoming one anti-hero himself. It's a terrible thing he's doing, but you understand why he's doing it because his family was murdered. He has every right to be angry and want revenge. You can understand his motivation, but at the end, he does become a hero. Become a hero. Domino, the actress plays her. She's a beautiful actress, though. Disney beats. But I swear, like if you pause the movie, oh never mind. I won't mention it. I thought she had like armpit hair or something. Well, sometimes women have that, but she should have shaved it. But anyway, I'm talking about hair on armpits, like which guy was us guys do. When a woman has it, it's disturbing. But I believe they shave it. But anyway, that's just weird me talking about that. Anyway, despite that, the actress was very good. She was very funny, and she gets lucky every time. When the truck hits, she lands on a on a blow up big panda bear. You know, or ends up at the convoy. Luck helps her get out of it. And this sequel, in a way, did become lucky because it was successful. Yeah, I agree with the critics. So I do think, right, the cast is very good. I think the story was really good. The movie's very entertaining. The humor is still good. Ryan Reynolds still is great as Deadpool. He is Deadpool. In my opinion, he was just born to play the role. That's how perfect he is for the character. David Lynch did a good job directing. The script is good. I disagree. I like the tone of the movie. The tone is funny. Yeah, it does have a little bit of serious to it, but this is still, it's more like a black comedy, if you will. It's still a superhero movie, but I would say superhero black comedy film. But it knows what it is. You know the tone of it. You know there's going to be humor in here. Don't take it too seriously. I mean, it's going to be funny. It's going to be over the top. It's going to be bloody. A lot of a lot of potty mouth there, a lot of language in it. That's Deadpool, the mark with the mouth. So it's going to be language. You don't see, yeah, you do see blood squibs, blood and gore in here. The blood squibs when somebody dies or gets hurt. Yeah, they're gonna get hurt. It doesn't hold back from the R rating. And the directing and writing is good. At the cinematography, the film does look nice. I like the way the Xbox freaking looks. And yeah, I believe that guy was really on fire. So they did probably use some practical effects in here. Yeah. The editing is good too. Cinematography is nice. Musical color base is pretty good. The soundtrack is real good. Yeah. Ah, okay. Yeah, I do have the Deadpool 2 soundtrack on a disc. Yeah. They always throw these 80s songs in here. Oh yeah, there's these song called Ashes. Right after Vanessa dies, and then he gets himself killed. It's like a parody of James Bond. You have Ashes, Welcome to the Party, Nobody Speaks, DJ Shadow, You're in Your Eyes, Take on Me, If I Could Turn Back Time, Tomorrow. So yeah, it does have very good songs in here as well. And ladies mention that they're like, working 9 to 5 song playing. And it's just 2 hours. It's 2 hours, but it's just 2 hours, and it really 119 minutes. Yeah, 119 minutes. Trust me, it doesn't feel that long. Like Avengers: Infinity War, that is 2 hours 29 minutes long, but including the end credits. But this has post credits too. But still, this felt like a short sequel. It didn't feel. It felt 2 hours. It felt like it went by at a good pace, and the story was really good. I like the whole thing with the X Force, even though they die. It's still funny to watch, because this is a straight up comedy as well. Yeah, and it's supposed to be funny. It's Deadpool. You're not supposed to take it seriously. When it's a Deadpool movie, it's got to have the deadpan humor. Yeah, a lot of humor, a lot of jokes thrown in here, and it works in a Deadpool movie. Now, issues. I didn't like the Russell character. I thought the kid was annoying. He's like, "My name is Firefist." It's just his voice was annoying. He's like, "What's my name?" I thought he was just irritating at times. I didn't care for him. I get it. They they're trying to get the whole thing that Deadpool might become a father eventually, and he's got to save the kid. Proves that he has a good heart, and he's got to make sure the kid doesn't grow up to be some serial killer. Yeah, I'm not saying Deadpool's fully evil, but he's an anti-hero that does kill the bad guys. He does fight dirty, but he's teaching Russell not to be evil, which I like. But Russell, I didn't care too much. This character just the kid annoyed me. And Black Tom Cassidy seems like a pretty cool character. You know, they probably could have done a lot more with him. You manipulate bonds with impartial energy through plant life. Okay, well, you probably could have done something with this character, but they just kind of shove him in here. I'm like, really? And that's one problem I had. A real big problem I had with X Men Apocalypse is you shove a character like Jubilee in there, you do something with them. Just don't throw characters in here for fan service. I'm like Deadpool 2. That's what you did. Yeah, you could have done a lot more. Black Tom Kissy could have probably been a cool character, but they kill him off. I'm like, okay, yeah. But when him and Cable fight, it is good action, and the cast is really good, especially Terry Crews and Brad Pitt. He does just have a short cameo in here as a as Vanisher. Like I said, his cameo is completely invisible to you if you miss it, if you know what I mean. But anyway, it's still a funny sequel. This is an entertaining sequel. Definitely one of my favorites sequels ever. I do think the first one is a lot better. If I had to pick a favorite Deadpool, I could go with the first. I'm sorry, the first one. I think I've always enjoyed. Except the only problem I had with the first movie was the villain. Cable was definitely a better villain, even though it's more of the headmaster who's more the villain in the movie. To be honest, the reason Cable is here is to avenge his family and go back in time to kill Russell. He just is convinced by Deadpool to convince Russell at 30 seconds, which happens, and yeah. And I believe they, do become like a team. I guess become friends in the comics. And I wish to see more of that, but if we ever get Deadpool 4, they should bring the characters back. I did miss them in Deadpool and Wolverine, though. I like that we had the cameos like Wesley Snipes coming back as Blade and Jennifer Garner as Elektra and the little girl from Logan X-23, Laura. You know, and Channing Tatum as a Gambit was good too. But I do wish these characters would have came back for another Deadpool movie. They should make Deadpool and Wolverine. I hope they will. I mean, they did make Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm talking about Deadpool 3. But I guess that is your Deadpool 3 there. Yeah. But Reynolds says that he's unsure if he'll come back as Deadpool. Again, I get with the fourth movie, when you keep going, the jokes do run out of ideas sometimes. You can only do so much with a character. But if this just ends with three movies with Deadpool and Wolverine, I think it ended perfectly. Not yet. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine. We're not getting to that until I get to the 2020s era because that film came out last year, 2024. It just sucks that we had to wait for so long. But this did definitely deserve a solo Deadpool film. I'm glad it came to Wolverine, which was cool. I would have saved it for a fourth movie, but that's just me. But because I'd rather see some of these characters come back and fight a villain again. That'd have been cool. You could have done a lot more out of the comics. I think there's a lot more to do with the character Deadpool. I think there's a bit more they can do. Following other sequels. But this is still a very entertaining sequel, despite those little problems I have. This is still fun. It's better than X Men Fall. It's better than X Men Dark Phoenix because those films are shit and they're boring as heck. The casting here is good, by the way. I love Ryan Reynolds Deadpool. Zazie Beetz as Domino Beautiful, and she's a good actress. And Josh Brolin as Cable does a great job. I know he said he liked to prefer to play Thanos. I like him as Thanos and Cable. I like him as both characters. Yeah. One is completely evil and insane and a tyrant and mad and a madman. Yeah. And is a Titan. But Cable is a guy that just is doing just to get revenge for his family. So you understand his motivation. So I would say more of an anti-hero. But TJ Miller's good. Despite if he's an asshole in real life, I don't know. But Margot Robbie, oh, she's gorgeous. A very beautiful woman. I always had a crush on her ever since seeing her in Gotham. Yeah, Josh Brolin was good. Showing Dimension, all the rest of the cast, and the lady that played Fly now, they were good. So, Deadpool 2, great sequel in my opinion, awesome sequel. I would say it's just as good the first, but I would say the first one's better in my opinion. But they're both great movies. And like I said, it's not for kids. This is rated R. It does have strong violence and language throughout, and some drug material in it, and sexual references too. So this movie, yeah, it's not for children. Don't expect the Deadpool movies, 1 and 2, especially Deadpool and Wolverine. They are not for kids. I don't care if Wolverine's wearing his mask, or parents will complain if you'll complain if you see it. Unless you want your kids to watch a rated R movie, that's up to you. Let's say you have Disney Plus, you say, okay, watch it. I doubt they're gonna hide from the blood and gore in that movie. The blood squibs and stuff. It's some CGI, but it's still blood and stuff. Yeah, especially in Deadpool Wolverine, they really go over the top of the blood in that movie. But they do in all the Deadpool movies. But Deadpool 2, my rating for this, I'm gonna give Deadpool 2 a thumbs up, and my rating for this film is 4 to 5 stars. So guys, tell me in the comments down below, what do you think of Deadpool 2 in your opinion? Do you like the sequel? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's better than the first? Superior? Yeah. And stay tuned for my next review. That again, there are two more sequels that came out 2018 that are superhero films. Then the next two are not. This one came out in June. The first movie turned 20 years old, by the way. Well, is 20 years old. Uh, but I remember being really hyped for this movie when it came out in June. I'm positive this is the next review, yeah. And of course, that is da 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 2018, starring the voices of, well, it doesn't tell me here, but it's once read up again by Brad Bird and the same actors. That is Greg T. Nelson, Samuel Jackson, and Helen Hunt, and that is, and I believe Brad Bird versus Edna. Again, that is The Incredibles 2, or just Incredibles 2, but Incredibles 2 is the next review. So, guys, stay tuned for my review of Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 is next. Definitely. I did review the first movie. It's on here on my channel if you want to check it out. No, not on my other channel. Well, it's on my other channel. The original review is. You can check out the original review for I did for the first movie, and my revisit review, which I did on this channel. And thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah. So again, my rating for Deadpool 2 is my rating for the film is 4 to 5 stars, and a thumbs up. Tell me in the comments down below, guys. What is your favorite? What do you think of this movie, in your opinion? What do you think of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool? What do you think of the character of Cable, played by Josh Brolin? What do you think of the sequel, in your opinion? And how would you rank the Deadpool movies? And which one is your favorite Deadpool movie? Mine probably is the first. But what do you think of this movie? Do you think it's better than some of the X-Men movies? And what do you think of this movie in your opinion? And what are some of your favorite Marvel movies from the 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s? You don't have to name a lot, just name a few if you want. But anyway, Deadpool 2, 4 to 5 stars, and a thumbs up for this. So awesome sequel. And stay tuned for the next review, guys, which is another sequel, like I said, Incredibles 2. Incredibles 2 is my next review, so stay tuned for that coming next. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. I'll see you later, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye bye. Make a dirty gesture, so. Bye bye. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.